Well, following the massive anti-Israel protests in both London and New York last week, where attendees showed explicit support for terrorist organizations and blatant anti-Semitism, the UK's Metropolitan Police in London are facing increased scrutiny following a viral video of a young woman asking a policeman whether or not a swastika on a sign at an anti-Israel rally was illegal. His response shocked the internet. Let's take a closer look.
Something's likely to cause harassment, alarm and distress if it is written words or there's spoken words that are abusive.
So, sorry, under what context is a swastika not disrupting public order? Could you just explain under what symbol that's not disrupting public order?
I haven't said at any point, have I, that it is or it isn't. Everything needs to be taken within context, doesn't it?
Yeah, but it's a context of but why does the swastika need context? This is my question. Why is a swastika not immediately anti-Semitism? Why does it need context? This is what I'm confused about. This isn't even about Israel.
Hitler is not anti-Semitic too.
In what context is a swastika not anti-Semitic and disrupting public order? That's just my question.
I don't have an in-depth knowledge of signs and symbols.
Now, here to speak with us about that incident is Jocelyn Weiss, the young woman in the video. Jocelyn, thank you for joining us today. Now, the officer who you spoke to seemed to have trouble stating that a swastika was indeed anti-Semitic. What was your takeaway from this encounter?
My takeaway was that I think the Met Police is a bit lost. I want to say that they're confused. I think I'm giving them a bit too much courtesy when I say that. What I do know is that they've made statements since that they arrested that guy and that they offered to accompany me immediately to take care of the situation. That was not what happened. They were very dismissive, and they also have not contacted me since to let me know that they arrested the guy. I hope they did. But their response, I was kind of shocked. I really didn't, I just can't believe it happened. I can't believe he actually said those words.
It shouldn't be something so controversial, right? After this video went viral, the Metropolitan Police, as you mentioned, did claim that they arrested the individual and even that they offered to help you. First of all, is that accurate? You claimed at least part of it was not. And second, have you been surprised by the outrage on social media against the police's conduct?
Thank you for asking. I was not surprised by the backlash at all. In the past few months, the Met Police has made multiple statements that chanting jihad is not anti-Semitic, that projecting from the river to the sea on Big Ben is not anti-Semitic. They've made many of these claims of blatantly anti-Semitic things that are not anti-Semitic and need to be taken in context. So I'm not surprised by the backlash in response to this, because the backlash in response to those things was also quite large. I was just shocked that it was a swastika. I didn't think it would get that far. I suppose I shouldn't be that surprised in retrospect, but no, the response did not surprise me at all.
Now, we've seen...
And I don't know if they arrested the guy.
We've seen similar trends and in other countries of blatant anti-Semitism, even support for terrorism on the streets. Why do you think that police, whether in the UK or even in the United States, Canada, why are they so reluctant to crack down on this extremism that's so blatantly anti-Semitic?
I think that, again, thank you for the question. I think that what we need to remember is we are halfway through the 2020s, which is crazy. But we started off this decade very chaotically with lockdown, and that was really quite strong policing, and that was curfews and all this sort of stuff. Then the summer of 2020 happened, and there was a huge backlash. And there was a lot of, defund the police have too much power. And so what society has expected from the police as to how they are kept safe, that the definition of that is constantly changing, right? And so there is a lot of mixed messaging in that regard. But in particular to this, I think that people right now, what they want is to know that if there are literal terrorists on the street, that the police will protect them. And I don't think that's the message that the police in London have sent today. What I want to tell people in England is that people are seeing this, right? This is what people think of London. And it's a shame because, London is a really wonderful city. And it's a city with a really great and beautiful and thriving Jewish community. And it's not... It doesn't represent London as a whole, but this is the message that the world is seeing. And it's important that people know that so that they can be aware of it. But yeah, I think the message that they're sending in trying to minimize the issue is exactly the opposite of what they should be doing, which is taking responsibility. And again, at the very least, reaching out to me to say, hey, just so you know, we arrested the guy. I'm not exactly hard to get in touch with. So
now it seems that many people in these protests are sort of conflating criticism of Israel with support for terrorism and hatred of Jewish people. What would you like to see from the authorities in many of these Western countries where these protests are taking place to deter this, to push back against this?
Again, thank you so much for the question. What I would like to see, well, first of all, what I would like to say, if they're going to maintain this line of criticizing the Israeli government, I would expect a basic knowledge of civics in regards to this issue. I think most of the people who say, I'm not being anti-Semitic, I'm criticizing the Israeli government, could not define the word Knesset if you asked. I think many of these people probably don't even know that Palestine is two different places. And so I think it's very ironic for them to say, oh, I'm criticizing the Israeli government, when, again, there's a lack of knowledge of anything in regards to Israeli or Middle Eastern politics at all.
Absolutely. Jocelyn, I'm so sorry to cut you off, but we are out of time.
No.
I want to thank you for your courage, also for showing up and for taking part and for taking this policeman to task. Please continue what you're doing and stay safe out there in London.
Thank you.